Welcome to Portfolio One. Today we're going to be thinking about our design concept. Shannon LaCava, our former student, produced these promotional and business cards using the design concept as a basis, a color scheme, a style of font. And we can see here she's got one fancy font and one very plain font. That's what you're going to be working on today. And you will be producing a promotional card based on what we're doing today. Your business card ideally needs to be the same design concept as well. So I'm going to jump to the worksheet for today, and this is what I need you to overwrite and deliver: your name, today's date, the introduction here. Your design concept consists of a color scheme, font style, and design motif that will be used on all your promotional materials. It's the way to keep all promotional material consistent and should be based on your brand identity. So the task for today: you're to create a design concept that represents and matches your brand as a photographer. And we can see the three things listed down here: the definition, a visual interpretation of the brand identity for visual consistency on all promotional materials. So the bottom of the sheet here is what I need you to complete, and we're also going to be producing something in Photoshop that will be copied into this document and then delivered onto Blackboard today. The letterhead at the top, you can change that right at the end with your new font that you've been working on through class today. So the brand identity, you should all have a single word that represents what you stand for, the ethos of what you represent. And I've chosen mysterious as a kind of random one to just do a demonstration with today, and we're going to be working through the document here. Color scheme will be the first thing that we'll think of, and we're going to produce a minimum of 2 colors plus black for the purposes of what we're working on today. So back into Photoshop, we're going to start by creating a new file new from the drop down menus, and we'll just have a 6x4 document. Doesn't need to be very big, at 300 ppi, that we can work on. And then I'm going to use the color picker down on the toolbar here. You can see the checkbox here, web only colors. If you uncheck that, you have these continuous colors throughout the spectrum that we can see here. And but if I check that, it gives me a block of color to work with, and we know that that color is going to be supported on the web. That I think is going to work quite well. So I need to pick colors that are going to work with my brand identity word, and I quite like purple, quite like blue as well for this, but I'm going to pick this purple. And at the bottom here you can see this one number here, 6600cc. So I'm going to hit OK there and use my marquee tool to create a box, and then I'm going to use my paint bucket tool and to fill that in with the purple. Then go to my worksheet. My first color is a purple, and it was 6600cc. Okay, we're going to go back to the color picker here, and a blue is what I'm thinking would work quite well to go along with that. So, but as you're going through, scroll through a lot of the colors and use the slider here to go up and down through a spectrum. But I'm going to pick this, and the code here again, 0000cc, and I'm going to do a new box here, and paint bucket tool again to fill it in with the blue. Back to the worksheet. My blue is going to be, and so I'm on to the last one here, which is my black, and the code on the black again. If you go to your color picker, you can see just a bunch of zeros, 6 zeros down there, so we can go ahead and fill that in on the worksheet there. Good. Next thing is thinking about a font, and a whole bunch of fonts are on in Photoshop that we can select from. And if you want, you can go onto the web and find a font there. There's lots of free fonts that are available. I'm not going to require that you do that, but if you want something that's just a little bit more unique, that might be a way to do that. Let's use our brand name here, and actually that color picker, let's change that around. Um, You're going to need a fanciful font that fits with your word, and then a very plain font. And this is Arial here, that works quite well. But I would recommend a sans serif font. The serif on a font is like a little overhang. Fonts like Times Roman would have a serif, but I would recommend not having that on this particular um, for this particular use. So let's say that this is going to be my non-fanciful font, but let's go through here. Again, if I highlight my word after typing it in, I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and I can scroll through the fonts here and see if there's something that I think would work. American Typewriter, I don't think that works with the word mysterious. I think something that's a bit more scripted would probably work well, and well, noteworthy? No, I don't think that's going to work. But you can spend a bit of time going through trying to find what you think would actually work, and I quite like that there, mysterious, and what is the font? Zapfino. So I've got Zapfino and I've got Arial here. I can drop them in here. And I'm not sure that it's going to be supported. Let's see, it might be. Yep, there we go. It's supported here, Zapfino and Arial. I can change those fonts to match on here as well. It helps if we spell it correctly. There we go, Arial. All right, so design motif is the next thing we're going to look at, and I'm going to go to Google image search. I'm going to start just by putting my brand identity word in here. If I do an image search, that definition in there was quite cool. You might want to just review your definition here. Difficult or impossible to understand, explain, or identify. But if I go to images, there's a lot of interesting ideas, lots of interesting ideas that you might be able to come up with just doing a Google image search. And well, shot a moon there. You've all got your moonshot now. That would be a good thing to work with. Earlier I was looking at this, and early cave painting was something that I thought matched the brand quite well, and there were some pretty cool images that came up. 40,000 years old, pretty amazing. Well, these multiple hands are kind of a bit funky, and a single hand I quite like, and well, let's choose this. Now, for the purposes of what we're doing here, I'm just going to do a screenshot, but this is just for a demo. I would never actually use this on a real thing, and so it needs to be your photograph, ideally. But I've done a screenshot of that. I'm going to pull it into Photoshop and show that we can do a few things to it, which would help it work for what we're trying to do here. This is our hand. I've just opened it. Let's do a little bit of adjustment in curves first of all. Lighten, increase contrast, and a high contrast image is probably going to work a whole lot better for you. If I use the filter gallery here or here, and there's a lot of options that are open to me. I'm on the graphic pen at the moment. I'll probably come back to that. But the stamp tool is pretty cool as well, and sliders on the right here that adjust the light and dark balance and the smoothness of it. I've had a lot of success using that tool in the past, but the graphic pen I think is going to work well for what I'm doing here today. An extra addition that you may choose to do is to invert the image as a solid black and white graphic, and adjustments, invert, this is going to make the image into a negative, like in traditional photography. And I quite like that as a look. Okay, I'm going to give it a soft edge and use my lasso tool here. I've set the feathering to 30, and it's difficult to see where this is going. This is done quickly. If I'm too close to the edge of the image, it's going to be a hard image on the edge of it, which I definitely do not want for the purposes of this. But oops, this is me doing it for the second time because I made a mistake. Okay. Drag that off of there, use my move tool and drag it onto the sheet here. And I can use my free transform tool to change the size of that if it's not correct. If you're using free transform, remember the chain link at the top here. That will preserve the aspect ratio for you. I can position that there. And we're away. Okay. I'm gonna, let me see, flatten the image now. So it's out of sight for you, but layer, drop down menu, right at the bottom, flatten image. I'm gonna use my marching ants again on here and draw within the box there. And now I can do a copy and I should be able to paste that onto my Word document down here. And that now is ready to save and deliver onto Blackboard. And that will be the assignment complete for you today.